Hello, my name is Gemma Hayley, um, Gemma Hayley Baxter originally. Um, I'm a criminologist, okay, and I'm a mother. So in this one, I'm going to talk about the um, paedophilic child sex rings that are taking place, and it's within the higher ranks in our system. So I'm going to talk about this because I'm already in trouble, so why not? This is something I've dedicated myself to prior to having my own children, and it's something that is taking a really big footing in our society of late, where there's a lot of things that have come out about certain seniors, heads, high officials that they have been conducting within child sex rings, and it's something that's really major. So I want to talk about this. So basically, I just want to say that it's illegal to have sexual relations with a child, especially under prepubescent age. So this is anything beyond probably about 12 below, right? So this is probably about 14 below, right? So that's obviously illegal, 14 below, right? So this is the reality, and so the point I'm trying to make in this one is that I've been personally abused, and so the reality is that these things can be really hard to deal with when we're older. So obviously I said I want to talk about this, but I want to talk about this primarily is that when somebody is still developing in their brain and you hurt them like that, they're going to have problems forever. So the culpability of harm should be much higher in the terrorist sentencing than anything else. And I do think that because the way the world is, and obviously, you wanted me to, sort of explain this because the way I see this as a gematria, you all need mothering, right? Especially the people who actually are paedophiles, right? They probably need a mum more than anyone. And you just got to think, what's your mum think of you? Do you think your mum's proud of you? You could be high paying seniors, top officials, everything. Do you think your mum's proud of you? The way you're conducting? Because you have power. All you have to say, these high officials, is that they're diplomats, okay? And then it's almost like they're free from police. They're free from being arrested, right? So this is quite concerning because as soon as you're a diplomat, it stops the police from doing the jobs properly. And it's almost like all they have to do is make a few calls and then it's swept under the rug. So this is usually how it happens. The reality is that it goes so far and high, okay, because it's been going on for so long. They've hid the child records, the unofficial child records. So when they've hid them through the justice system, this stops everybody from knowing what's happening to the children. And this is why this shouldn't be taking place, because the judges aren't being assessed for their roles properly within that fraction, and the reality is that they're getting away with heinous crimes against children in some circumstances. I'm not saying they're all doing it, I'm just saying that, hypothetically speaking, it's an aspect of protection, not for the children, for the judges. So this is the question mark. Are you protecting those children by hiding what's happening to them? We don't want it on display, no. We can edit the names, we can do what they do. They do have retractions, so you can cover the names and stuff like this and have this public. So every case is public and we can see it, we're hearing it. So we should be able to hear this. That not obviously, but to protect the children. So, and the judges' names should be on each case hold, right? So this knowledge, right, should come out about how you're treating the children, what the justice system made a conclusion as, the evidence, the pros and cons, weigh it out, okay, and bring this into our politics, okay? Because this will then stop, okay, the higher ups, high officials having a control over what's happening with our children. And if they're going missing, we need to find them quicker. Because if they've been put in a system under government, they shouldn't be going missing. So 1 in 3 children go missing. Another one. So this is an issue because they're already in government care. So why would they go missing in government care? So they're not being handled properly. So they're being taken to places they shouldn't be. And this is another thing. We should know where the children are, is knowing what is taking place is that the officials have to tell you, yeah, a parent or a family member, where these children actually are. You have to tell them where they actually are, okay? Because they don't. And also, I think there should be bigger parameters and there should be bigger parameters against child officers and the people who are working within the system. If they've lied, they lose their jobs, okay? So they're not allowed to go in there and lie, okay, under a court of law, which they do anyway, right? But if they've lied, okay, right, when they've lied, okay, bring in other people who can try and counteract that, not just like a process where it goes, right, this is this, and then that's it, it's done, but like a counteracting of an idea, because in child courts, they don't do that, okay? So in child courts, they use a child as a weapon, okay? So this is wrong, okay? We're not taking a child-centered approach. So in this will stop the higher tiers from having that control over that child if you can reiterate instead what's going on. Because a lot of these people, like child officers, they're working towards just ultimately receiving a benefit, receiving financial revenue from this transaction, and they're using children as a financial commodity throughout that system. Okay, so this, I think, will stop it if you criminalize more your social workers who have actually gone against the law. Not the good ones, but usually it's the good ones that get done in. Same with the teachers, same with all the, because they're speaking out about it. So the whistleblowers usually get the ones who are punished, and that's sad because that shouldn't be taking place. It should be the ones who are committing against the children. So if the documents are unclassified all the time, if they're always unclassified, then they won't be able to get away with it like they were doing, what they have been doing, right? So you got to think this has been going on for 100 years now. They had it in the Roman Catholicism, okay? So the nuns and stuff like that, they were doing it in the Irish towns, okay? So I don't think people are happy with what's happening in Ireland at the minute. There's been an influx of immigration, it's been fast, but the reality is that they're doing the same with the children there. And this was an issue with the Catholicism back in the 1900s. So we have to understand that what's happening in Ireland is happening in the UK. What happened in Ireland, like with the Tuam, Tuam, okay, where they found a lot of burials for children, okay, that were unaccounted for, right? Because they used to call them bastards out of wedlock, and then they used to treat them like, you know, and they used to give them to the bad people to hurt them, right? And this was a consequence. Some of the nuns wouldn't look after the children because they selected their favourites. So it all boiled down to aspects of insecurity and desire. And it was for the children to please these people when you should be a servant to those children. Do you understand? You should be a servant to those children as judges, as social workers, as Kafkas officers. So when you pledge your hand on that Bible and you argue to and from, you put a narrative to suit an agenda, to conduct a removal that is illegitimate. Okay, do you know what happens? Okay, so we're going back there. We're going back to the Catholicism, we're going back to that, right? When they used to steal the children because you were born out of wedlock, children was. So, it's similar now, but it happens within the system, okay? So it's not the nuns anymore, it's the social workers, okay? It's not it's the priests as well. Still goes on, okay? Because you might have children in buildings next to a church, schools next to it, and then a child agency adoption is next to that. So they've got little institutionalized areas where they handle the children, okay, in them specific ways, still under Catholicism, okay? That still takes place now. I'm not going to say where, but somewhere in London. And that's one, right? So they're all closely linked together, so the agencies will be like next to each other. And it's so that the children are accounted for and recorded in small doses, so they can keep hidden what's going on with the children. So a lot of abuse takes place in these homes. Why? Because they're 8 times more likely to be abused in care homes because they're not with the parents or caregivers who love them. The likelihood of them surviving is higher with their parents, 9 times higher than with their parents than to be alone in a care home. So when they take children, they have to question themselves, are they going to live a happier life in them conditions? The highly likelihood of them living them conditions in better is low, okay? These children are suffering in these care homes every single day. They are among people who are not being CRB checked. They are among people who are not being assessed. They're just being told to do certain jobs and they're not being questioned why. And there's people in higher positions that are taking these roles to do this to people, to children, to take them. And it's really sad because this is one of the things in my life that I had a download when I was 6, and I knew that this world it wasn't nice, especially when I sat there and looked at adverts on telly when there was like little children in Africa and they was all starving, and it's still the same now. So it makes me sad because nothing changes. And it was like that was when I was 5, and I got really sad about that. And then because when you're younger you don't understand what's going on. So you don't understand what's going on in the world when you're young. You question everything. There's a reality that's at play where they aren't being honest about how children, it's almost like they pull on our heartstrings and emotion strings just so they can take place and do this to people. And it's quite sad really, because at the end of the day, you're not creating a better society. You can claim that you are, but you don't, because ultimately, at the end of the day, you haven't changed anything in your homeland. You haven't changed. What have you solved in your home? Nothing. No offense, some people like they're advocates or they're standing in really high positions, and you just look at your own hometown, your own country, and you just think, what have you changed? What have you done? Nothing. What are you trying to achieve? Are you gonna get any? Are you gonna get any accomplishments from what you're doing in the role that you are in. So when you're a social worker or a CAFCAS officer, you always have to go back to these areas of thought. Like, what have you changed in this world? Have you just lied about it, or have you been honest? You know, you can sit there and try and say, oh, she's good now, oh yeah, she's good now, and try and retract it, but at the same time, the problem was the person in the first place who lied. So you can't backtrack on that. You can't get loads of people to come bully you. It's like a ringleader, right? So what they do is, no offence, but I'm going to be honest, is that these officers, right, there's a ringleader, they come in, they'll bully you a little bit, right, and then they'll see what they need to do, and then this is when they bring in other institutions to bully you. They'll bring in other institutions to push you away. Spiritual abuse takes place, okay, within the home, spiritually, right? They bring in demons, okay? I don't know how to explain this to you, okay? But they bring in the demons, okay? So these can be archons, if you like, or just really bad people who are pretending to be spirits and they're not, okay? So this takes place as well under the amnesty of taking the children, okay? So a lot of spiritual abuse to be encountered when you know your children are they want to take your children. Okay, so this is like from a mother's perspective. It's a lot of spiritual abuse that takes place, but I don't believe it's spiritual. I believe it's AI, and I think it's spirituality too. So it's merged. I don't think that they can. I think that they've advanced in their spirituality through AI, but I don't think that they know what they're doing. So I think that the reality would be that let's go back and understand, like, some of these women, okay, have mental illness because they've taken that many children, okay, they can't handle it, right? They have mental illness and stuff. It takes them as well after they've done it to the third kid, or they've lost about 5, right? So this is usually what happens with social services, people like this who have taken, some of them can't handle it. I saw one woman, she was sitting there rocking, doing singing nursery rhymes in her sleepwalking, walking around, she was rocking, singing nursery rhymes. I was only in hospital. So you can see how it affects the people when they grow older and older, and like how they are like disguising just the children's wishes or a parent's wishes, because they lie about it, so they can, because they've just been told to, you know. So sometimes it can be predetermined. So a lot of the times this is how you can tell that the system has predetermined your results, or if you can retrieve or anything like that, retrieve the children back from a care, for example. So this is why I say that we should have disclosed documentation, public, right? Mark the names out, public disclosures, right, on children, right? Because then at least you've got people who can sort of look at that, and then the judges have like a review. Because when the judges have a review, they know they have to do their jobs promptly and correctly under governance for the people as servants to the children. So we've got to remember this. Like, yeah, you're not above the law, like the judges said, but there's an element there where your job is to protect children and keep them safe, okay? So when you're not doing this and you're hiding it and it's coming out like the children in caravan sites, and you got to think all those women that you've taken their children from, parents, and they're sitting, and then they've got the children sitting in caravan sites. So now it makes sense that you can't stay in your caravan only 6 months of the year, even though you bought it, because the government want to use it for different means. So it's interesting, really, isn't it, when we start to uncover and unwrap what's inside the gift box. And what is it? What's inside that gift box that you've given all these children? A pile of crap. Right? So this is why we need public, bring this out, public documentation. If it's falsified, arrest the people who have done this. Put them in jail for longer sentences, because they've taken advantage of the children. They've compiled lies. So these people should be being arrested. Okay, social workers, CAFCAS, these people need arresting. Okay, they need to be put in prison. Okay, for lying about children. Judges need to be arrested and put in prison. Okay, for lying about the children, or not for lying about the children, but maybe if they've done something bad, we need to check these people, these judges. I'm not going for any specific. I'm just being honest. Okay, I'm not going for anyone. I'm being specific. If you want to change policy and politics around children, and the child law needs to change, then what do you think needs to happen? And this is why I'm doing this. And if you want to imprison me, and what do you want to do? Because the reality is, I don't see anyone else trying to help. I don't see anyone else trying to help these children. You all sit and laugh about it like it's a joke at office. I'm drinking my cup of tea. How long's evidence been classified for? Probably about 75 years. We're going on now. 1912 they all started. Listen, there's an end of an era. We don't need to create another one that hides child abuse, okay? And we need to create better systems for it, because the reality is that you can mug me off, you can say what you want about me, you can do what you want. The reality is, because you have, right? I've had things stolen from me. I have hardly anything, right? People don't want to support you unless they get something out of it. Well, what I'm doing is I'm showing you that you don't have to get something out of something all the time. Just share your opinion about something that we care about, which is our children, which is next generations. The reality is that you can't just go around taking children and putting them in caravan sites. Look at all those social workers that have done that and left a child there. There's a sackable offence. You're not putting that child in a better situation. You're putting that child in a worse situation. So you've removed that child from their parents and you put them in that. Like, you've got to understand that the judges know where the children are going as well, so they should be held accountable. So this is why I'm saying this. And it's a crime against children, and like the judge said, nobody's above the law, not even you. So where does it start? It starts with the public having attraction back so they can give you a judgment. And it's just like anything, like politics, all you as well. It's like that. It's understanding the fabric of this universe. You need to protect these children, not hide your crimes. There's not going to be any kids left if you don't listen to me. The kids won't come back. Thank you for listening to me. My name is Gemma Hayley. We spoke about this.